we'll talk about it a little bit later. There are some people that, and this is going to happen with everything. There's always going to be people that just completely dislike something and they want to discredit it. And so, I mean, it's nothing new. But I think reaction videos definitely, I think it's fair to say, have stirred up a little bit more of a controversy. I want to talk a little bit more about the shows that you actually focus on. You do the Vampire Diaries, you do Gotham, you do video games, you do movie trailers, Supernatural, The Flash, The Walking Dead. What is manga?
Well, manga is like Japanese comic books, They have more, in my opinion, you can have a debate on this though, but in my opinion, it's like a little bit more dramatic. It's not going to have that much light tone as, regular comic books are, but it's almost like the same realm of it. It's just more in the Japanese culture. You would see, when you go, not much in America, you would not see like everyone reading comic books. But when you go to like Japan, you'll see everyone like either reading manga or it's always in the stores. No matter where you go, it's like embedded in their culture.
When you say it's a little heavier in tone, is it more like our graphic novels over here? Is that relatable?
Yes, it is relatable to it though. But in certain with these manga, they're a little bit more emotional. They will actually get into the topics of a little bit more prejudice and gore and violence than some comic books and graphic novels of today. Not saying that there aren't as much, but it's a little bit more public with it, and they're not afraid to touch on certain subjects.
So they hit some heavier topics, and they dive into some social issues, some controversial, which is definitely more controversial than maybe your basic narrative of your classic superhero, where it's bad guys are robbing the bank and Spider-Man's here to save them. It might be like realistic or relatable issues in comic books, which maybe the American comics, just maybe that's not what they're for. They're not there to hit the hard issues, but I think that's definitely cool. So how do you actually react to a comic book?
Yeah, I haven't done as much. I've done a few, which I'm trying to do a little bit more, but on a separate channel. But for me, doing that, it's very tricky. I can't really show page per page. So it's almost like a read out loud when you're in your pre-K and kindergarten days when the teacher does read out louds. But here, I try to put in more of a reaction base. As you see me do my reactions, you see me reacting towards it. I kind of react page by page, and not just read, do a reaction. Now I try to give feedback per page. Which is kind of a little bit difficult because again, people aren't seeing everything, so I have to give it a description of per page.
Gotcha. What's the rules with that? Are you able to show the panels on screen?
No, I try not to. Even though some YouTubers mess around with it, try to show the panel of the pages and add color or something towards it, but I don't want to do that, end up getting a copyright, take the video down or something, because from my understanding, when you even do manga or even anime, YouTube and then the creators, they're very touchy-feeling about their content.
Is there a difference between what makes a good show and what makes a good show/movie to react to? Is there shows in your personal life that they're not necessarily something that's going to translate well?
Okay. Is there such thing as a good show or a good movie? It always depends on the viewer. For me, I love Supergirl. I react to it. Because when I watch it, I'm not just completely dead towards it. That's why it's good for me to do a reaction towards it. Now, even though Supergirl may be a good show for me to watch, not everyone is going to love Supergirl. Let's face it. I remember one time when my own subscriber was like, yeah, I see you watch Supergirl. I really don't like it. I think it's a little bit too girly or not just as good as the other, superhero shows like The Flash or Gotham or Arrow Legends of Tomorrow. But again, it all depends on the viewer if it's something that's good to react to. You know, for instance, I did a reaction on Westworld, and I love doing Westworld reactions. But then another YouTuber did a reaction towards a Westworld, and he's all like, I don't get what everyone likes about this show. I hardly understand anything. And he just did only just one episode reaction towards it. So again, it all depends on the viewer, the reactor, if a show is good for he or she.
Yeah, I guess that obviously people aren't going to want to really watch somebody react to something they have no interest in unless they're just hoping that if they hate something that somebody else hates something too. But if it's, like you mentioned, this other YouTuber, I guess you'd consider that to be a one-off. They just did one, and then they didn't continue doing any more. So I actually, even though some people might have a problem with that, I can see that. It's the same way as giving a bad review if you're a film critic. So,
but also that can also work, though. Excuse me for interrupting, though. But
no, you're fine.
yeah, because either you like it or you don't. Because I do see some YouTubers who hate a particular show, but they still react towards it because people love to see that person just trash on that show.
Yeah, I guess that all comes back to the idea of you want to see people that feel the same way you do about something, whether it's a film critic that you read or watch. You tend to stick with the people that have the same taste as you. You're not going to go to somebody that's just going to shit on all the shows and intellectual properties that you personally like. But also, it's human nature, and it's probably not a great quality, but we enjoy hearing negativity about things that we feel negative about. If we really dislike something, it's the same as if we really like something. We want to see somebody else really hate it just as much as we want to see somebody really like something that we like. So I guess, with what I think people are looking for out of these videos, which we'll get into a little deeper here in a minute, I think it makes just as much sense, or it's fair to say that it's just as relatable and marketable for people to do negative reactions on some shows as it is to do positive ones, because there's probably just as many people that hate shows that love shows, especially some of these bigger shows. If you dislike something, it's like positive reformation. That's why people watch it. People want to see how people really feel. They don't want to see how they want you to think they feel. Maybe they were confused and they don't want to seem like they're not intelligent. Maybe they didn't get something. Like, say you're watching Westworld where they didn't get something, because that fucking happened. I run a Westworld blogging community, and I had to rewatch some stuff. If they're like, oh man, I don't want to look dumb, so yeah, I'll do this. I'll make that nice little, I get it, instead of what the fuck just happened. So yeah, I see a lot of issues just because how we are as humans. It's not natural for us to want to be depicted in what we see as something that's not a good light. So there's no way that they're not going to be compromised. I kind of heard arguments similar to that they are creating better content by viewing it before because they have more time to think about how they really felt. But I think that's